Before we record the roll, could I please have a motion to excuse Commissioner Semo from attendance this evening?
Moved. Support.
Motion to excuse Commissioner Semo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Recording of the roll.
All present except for Commissioner Semo.
Approval of the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I would ask that you approve the corrected minutes in front of you. There was a few spelling changes on some names and stuff, minor changes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Discussion. Motion to approve the consent agenda made by Commissioner Tower, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran. All in favor?
No, excuse me, Madam Mayor, we need a roll call on the consent, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Mildred?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Burchell?
Yes. Item D, approval of the agenda.
I have one change to the agenda. Item S, please. It should be not County Road, it should be Country Club Road.
Motion?
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda with the correction.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Mildred, support by Commissioner Corcoran to amend the agenda, adding item S, country, changing that to country. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item E, receive and place on file the statement of revenue and expenditures and the monthly cash report.
Thank you. Tonight I'm reporting the financials for the month of October. Revenue and expenditure report and the cash report were not included in the original agenda, so I didn't provide printed out copies, which was going to have it on the big screen as well. The first page is the general fund. Nothing significant to report. Looking at a negative period fund balance around $207,000, and that's mainly due to the timing of expenditures. We do have a big grant, Western Gateway Trail project grant. That's based on reimbursements. So we spend the money first and then get reimbursed, and then we'll go through the process of getting reimbursed for a couple requests that we've sent in. So we're just waiting for the money to come in. So that's the big reason for the discrepancy there. The next page is the major stream fund. We haven't seen too much activity in there yet, but we will as the snow starts to fall. So really nothing major to report. Same with the local streets on the next page. Same with the major streets. We'll see that activity start to pick up here. The library fund is on the next page. Again, they run a negative period fund balance throughout the year because they receive their appeal plans after the fiscal year round. So you can see that negative there all year long. The EDC, our revolving loan fund, is on the next page. A small fund, very little activity, reflecting from one of our loaning. One person has a loan, and then this money gets transferred to the regional fund on a quarterly basis. The next page is the Civic Center Fund. Nothing major to report, healthy fund balance. Again, with their revenues, just as a reminder, they record their revenues on a cash basis. So the taxes that we've collected so far, all get recorded as revenue. That's why you're seeing the majority of people have a big revenue over expenditure in their fund. Equipment fund is next. Again, this is driven by rental equipment to the other funds, to make sure the streets, local streets, water and sewer. So you'll see that activity start to pick up as well in the winter months. The water utility fund, we see a big negative period fund balance, $350,000. That's due to our urgent need grant. That is a reimbursement based as well. So we spent a huge portion of that. You can see the water break activities, over $400,000, which we're working on reimbursement for currently. The sewer utility fund, again, there's another grant in that fund. That's our grant. We kind of spend some money up front and get reimbursed. Others we wait for reimbursement before we actually cut some checks. Which are negative balances due to the timing of expenditures, the grant as well as others. Next is the cemetery fund. I've seen a lot of activity the first few months here. They'll start to taper off in the winter months, kind of pick up again in the spring. So I don't see much change to that fund here with the snow. And then the last one is our DIA fund. That will be to report with that. And the last page is the cash balances report. Reporting the balances as of October 31st, 2015. I think they just noted the water fund showing the negative cash balance. And again, that's directly through that urgent need activity. Spending on a lot of those funds we have to get reimbursed for. Again, our bank balance is in the negative. We do pool those funds at the top of that report. They're all pooled. So we're not at risk of by any means. Questions?
Yes, just one. On the water fund, the urgent need fund, could you explain that?
Sure. So a couple years ago, we had the big freeze. And we spent a lot of money on thawing out water lines and replacing water mains, broken lines. Spent a lot of money there. So through this process, the grant process, we're going to get reimbursed for the money already spent on our local dollars that we spent. And then we had Jake's Excavating, who I think we had a final payment
on this agenda.
They were contractors that we hired to do a lot of the repair work that we didn't do as an emergency service. So that grant, roughly $525,000, roughly will be taking $5 for that project.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we receive and place on file one statement of revenue and expenditures and 2 monthly cash report.
Second.
And discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carried. Thank you. The next item, item F, approval of the monthly check register report.
The check report was included with the agenda packet, and if there's any questions on any of the disbursements, I could address them now.
I'll make a motion we approve the monthly check register report as presented.
Second.
Discussion? A motion to approve the monthly check register report by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Tower. All in favor?
We need a roll. Madam Mayor, please,
Oh.
we have a roll,
Okay,
please.
thank you.
Tower,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Mildren,
Yes.
and Burchell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda, a 3-minute limit. If you'd like to speak, we ask you to come to the podium and state your name and address. Anyone? Come on up.
Edward Bell, 420 West Francis Street. I was concerned about item F, primarily with 3 checks, one for Miller Products, for soil erosion mats, roughly $430. I believe for the Little League field, Wood Select Construction, excavation of Little League field for $1380. And then also paving for the street, local street mills, roughly $50. put a berm down there about 2 months ago, and already that berm is collapsing. I noticed on the boulders and back cracks there are already 6 inches wide, so you have that whole width of your rock, about 12 feet of it.
The items that Mr. Martell brought up, there are a couple items relative to the Little League field. He is correct on that. And the Northwoods paving, we have not paid out, you'll see probably at your next meeting, another payment for Northwoods for the local street paving. There's a few items yet to wrap up with them on some signs that were put in, that type of thing. And then there will be a balance left for some streets to do next spring. So once we get that final, I won't call it final payment for the year, we'll see where we're at with our balance, and we can equate that back to how many additional streets we can get done next spring under the bond dollars that we have through the millage. And I think those are the questions that Mr. Martell had. And with the site out there, we can have our Public Works take a look. If there is a issue with the berm or anything, we take a look if we need to touch that up at all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Martell. Any other comments? Moving on to item H, citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda. None noted. Item I, presentation. Sandy Sharp from the Gogebic Range Mural Committee. Or Ivan Helen.
So my name is Ivan Helen. I know most of the people here, and as most of the people know, I'm interested in local history and preserving and keeping Ironwood's rich history alive. So I am pleased to announce the formation of a new committee or group, and we have this pass out. So the new group or committee will be called GRMAC, G-R-M-A-C. What that's going to stand for is Gogebic Range Murals and Attractions Committees. So we're interested in getting a few more murals set up downtown Ironwood, which I think will be a big asset to the community. And on this sheet, well, the way this started is I had to give the city walking tour as part of the historical conference, UB History Conference that was held here in Ironwood. And on the walking tours, somebody from Lower Michigan mentioned that that building would really be nice for a mural. And once he said that, it sparked an interest in me, and I mentioned that to Sandy Sharp, and she jumped on it right away. So that's kind of how it got started. Now, just a few things on this sheet here. Invigorate the community through public art. That's one way a lot of people can be involved. It affects a lot of people. Preserve and restore history in the community. What can I say about that? That's where I'm dedicated, and one of my goals is to keep finding different projects that other people sort of don't even think about or overlook, and then jump on it and go for it and follow it through, not stopping halfway or leaving it hanging there. That vibrancy and vitality of the existing real landscape. There's a lot of buildings in town that need a little facelift or side lift, I want to call it, because that's where we're going to go. And I think putting murals on some of them, really improve downtown, especially where people are coming into the downtown from business US 2. And probably one of the first buildings we want to take a look at would be the old Ironwood Pharmacy building, because it's visible from quite a distance. And we'll look into the possibilities. Implement greater pride and involvement through public art. These murals are going to be a little bit different because they're going to be painted by local artists who have shown an interest in it already. So we're not going to deal with the real professional ones, and the other ones because they are too busy anyway and won't be able to do it. So by getting the public involved, it just adds a little bit more to, I believe, to the mural. It's being done locally. Bridge ethnic and gender gaps through historical education and mural content. We have a good opportunity to bring a lot of different people together and possibly work with the school system in Ironwood where we're actually having them be a part of it because it's the town that they've grown up in. And when they come back for class reunions, they always have something that they can be proud of to show their families and whatever else. I think Ironwood is at a high right now for history because of the Smithsonian Annual History Conference, and we're going to put our right on the shirt tails of that and keep it going with this new organization. Pretty select on our membership. We have just a smaller group right now. We want people who are really positive, energetic people for the city of Ironwood who are determined to see the city prosper or whatever. I think adding murals is a good way to bring tourists into the town. It's more international, but we don't plan on going to that extent. Dealing with different things besides mining, since we have one mining reel, maybe logging in the railroad industry, education, merchants in downtown, and we can't forget our founding fathers and Wood and Oregon, all them, and then maybe we have them on one side and the industrialists who really grew from Ironwood's iron ore, like Andrew Carnegie and Frederick Pabst and so on. If you noticed on the name, it said Gibbon Range Murals and Attractions. The attractions part there's some things in Ironwood that have been here all the time and they're deteriorating. And one of them is a mural that's in the alley, kind of where Karen Carson car actually. It's that Schlitz beer sign that's always been there. And we'd like to have something like that restored, as well as the infamous Walter Meyer Sausage Company sign that's fading rapidly on the building that was part of Ironwood for so many years. We also would like to introduce the Indian head symbol that was used as a symbol for downtown Ironwood and Gibbon County as a whole. Those have disappeared as a couple around, but and many other attractions. And that's where the attraction part comes in. But also under, you'll see where it says Gibbon Range. So we want to get established in Ironwood, get a few murals up, and then Gibbon Range is, we go into early investment week for Montreal and have representatives for their towns, and hopefully they'll do the same thing. That's what we do. We're always looking for good quality people who are interested in really interested in Ironwood's history to serve on the board. And all we're asking is that the city gives us their blessings, and we're not asking anything more than that. And I guess that's about all I have to say on that. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for coming.
It sounds like an interesting plan. I'd be interested to hear more in the spring, like when you have a plan of who, what, where, when, and what murals we can expect and what buildings we can expect to look for them at and stuff like that. I think it'd be interesting.
It's going to be a big job, but
Right. Okay.
with a few good people.
Yes, thank you so much for your commitment and your interest in helping Ironwood and our history and preserving that and recording that through time and sharing your many talents. That's really, truly appreciated. Thank you. Moving on to item J, presentation of certificate of appreciation to former commissioners. Mr. Kayer's not here, is he here?
Yes.
We'll make sure that.
Okay. So we have Mr. Sim, Mr. David Sim. And we thank you sincerely for your service to our community. And just wanted to, come on up. I'm just going to speak while I have a mic in front of me. But I know this is Mr. Kayer's. But during your term, I just wanted to, no, you're fine.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm used to that, don't worry. During your tenure, Ironwood saw some great improvements, and there was the full reconstruction of US Highway 2, including the new water main, sanitary sewer, sidewalk, and street lighting, which was a $15 million project, and the local Phase 3 water, sewer, and street reconstruction, which was an $8 million project. The local street overlay project, a $1.7 million project. The Safe Routes to School grant project got initiated and completed with new sidewalks and safety improvements. The hardest hit blight grant, I believe is perhaps still in process, which will remove 27 blighted residential properties, and completed the first phase, 2.5 miles of the Iron Bell Regional Trail in Gogebic County, amongst many other things. And I know in the short term, you're involved with the new little skate pond in the Depot Park.
It's gonna be, I must say, Nathan is the guy behind that. It's gonna be awesome.
Wonderful.
I fully support it.
Wonderful. Thank you for your service.
I'm very glad. I love my term. Thanks, guys.
It was nice serving with you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
On behalf of the city of Ironwood.
We'll see you back in a couple
We'll
years.
see.
All right.
It's nice and bigger. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
And of course, we honor Mr. Joe Kayer as well, who isn't able to be with us tonight, but we certainly thank him also for his service. And he was on the commission for 2 terms, so 4 years. Moving on to item K, Audience Public Safety Director Andrew DeGiorgio, ISO fire rating deduction.
Okay, I was just over to Brandon Snyder, he is our fire marshal. He took the lead on this project, so I'll have to do a small presentation and answer any questions that you have. So, a big deal.
Yes.
Good evening. First of all, ISO stands for the Insurance Services Office. They provide surveys of fire response and capabilities in communities across the U.S. They assign a number that is used by the insurance companies to assign premiums. They use a 1 to 10 scale. 1 means superior fire protection, and a 10 doesn't meet their standards. They use 3 categories plus a bonus category to determine that factor. One of those is water supply, and we need to have up to 3,500 gallons per minute at various what they consider high value locations throughout the city. Basically buildings with high fire load, high occupancy, or more than 3 stories. We have several of those in the city. The second is dispatch, which is handling of calls and the number of dispatch circuits that go to 911. And the third is the fire department, including the number of full-time staff and the number of people responding from off-duty, the response times of those people, the pumping capability of our apparatus, the availability of a ladder company, or in our case, a platform tower, the training of firefighters, and the testing of ladders, pumps, and hoses. They also have a bonus category which just gives additional points for community risk reduction, which includes fire inspections, pre-planning, which is determining fire risk, and planning an appropriate response should that building start on fire, and fire safety education. In previous surveys, the last survey was in 1995, and we were rated at a level 6. Mostly that was due to poor fire flows in those locations. time, there were 4 structures that required 3,500 gallons per minute, and we were not able to supply that at that time. And we also did not have a community risk reduction program. So basically, what does this survey mean for Ironwood? Well, we're very proud to announce that we've been reduced from a level 6 to a level 4, which is a huge reduction. A large part of that, beyond what the fire department did, is the water system improvements were a big step for us. But basically what that means nationwide, they survey over 48,000 fire departments and only 4,248 score better beds.
Wow.
In Michigan, there's 2,163 fire departments that they score and only 27 score better beds.
That's amazing.
So we've made some huge improvements, both in the water and in the fire department. For insurance savings, like I say, insurance companies use this information for premium pays. Residential policies should see a slight reduction beginning with renewals that happen after February 1st of 2016. And commercial and industrial policies should see a quite noticeable reduction on renewals after that date. So at this point, I guess I'll take any questions.
I'd just like to commend you. I think our public safety, it's still called public safety?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Our public safety department, these are all self-motivated people, and you have programs in the schools, you have programs of fire prevention, you have programs that are helping with the drug problem in our county, and that's because of the work of each and every one of you, plus the department. So it's a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And I would just like to add one thing. This is an ongoing process. Brad and I have worked on this for the last 4 years. And our goal is we are trying to strive towards a level 3. Constantly working at this. This isn't a couple-week process. This is a yearly process. We have a lot of goal probably the next 3 to 5 years to work towards that 3. So Brandon works very hard at it and does a great job at it. I would remain very fortunate to have him with our departments.
Thank you.
How often do you go through the rating process? Is it yearly or every couple years? Or
They strive every 5 years, but we haven't been surveyed since 1995. So
Okay.
it depends on when their surveyors are available to come up and do that.
Again, great job. Thank you.
I think just to point out one other thing too, these are the intangible things too from a community development standpoint that makes Ironwood even more attractive for our existing businesses, hopefully to expand and maybe attracting other businesses in the area. It's a significant cost for the larger industrial businesses, so if you keep that cost down, it allows them hopefully to do other things. So nice job.
Yes, thank you very much. Moving on to new business, item L, consider approval of the rural development pay package in the amount of $299,621.13 for the City of Ironwood Phase 3 Utility Project Water portion.
Again, this is our Phase 3 water and sewer portion. Ritzela Construction is the contractor, one of the contractors under this project. We also reimburse the Michigan Department of Transportation for the Highway US 2 project. We are responsible for the water and sewer improvements on the highway also. So again, this has been an ongoing thing over the last few years, these progress payments. There's a separate one for water and a separate one for sewer. And you are looking at the water progress payment. Again, we do have some work to finish up in the spring, so this is not a final. There will be some final paving and some restoration work yet to be done in the spring.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the pay package as described in item L.
Support?
Discussion? Motion by Commissioner Tower, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve, a motion to approve item L. All in favor? Roll call vote, please.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildred?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Birchall?
Yes. Motion carried. Moving on to item M. Consider approval of the rural development pay package in the amount of $139,105.76 for the City of Ironwood Phase 3 Utility Project Sewer portion.
Same discussion, just the sewer part of that project.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the pay package as described in item M.
Support?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mildred?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Birchall?
Yes. Motion carried. Item N, consider approval of the CDBG urgent need pay package in the amount of $20,000 $117.35, which would be the final payment for the City of Ironwood.
This is a final for this project. Again, this is, you talked about it a little bit with Paul, this is an urgent need grant project. It was grant funded, so nice to have those dollars coming our way, and it included work on Francis Street from Hemlock to Lawrence. There's 2 blocks there. It was full water, there's some sewer, and then a full street reconstruction. And then Thomas Street, Marble, and Agate Street up by the DPW garage. Again, new water main that was put in there, and the streets were re-gravelled. Those were existing gravel roads. This is a final payment, so I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the pay package as described in item N.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to approve the payment package as described in item N. Discussion? All in favor? Oh, roll call, sorry.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Birchall?
Yes. Item O, discuss and consider authorizing to go out for a request for proposals or RFP for the City of Ironwood branding project. And we have. Good evening.
We are seeking to send out an RFP for specializing in branding and marketing. We will be creating a new brand for the city of Ironwood. And this has been on the radar for quite some time as a priority action item for the comprehensive plan. And we have also received adequate funding in order to do the project.
Well, I think it sounds like a good project to promote Ironwood. It's part of the comp plan. We have funds. So I would like to make a motion that we authorize to go out for request for proposals for the City of Ironwood branding project.
Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Mildren to support the RFP for a branding project. Discussion? Doesn't need a roll call. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item P, discuss and consider approval of resolution number 015-0392, Tier 1 surplus property.
Thank you. For a refresher on this project, this came out of the comprehensive plan discussion to identify different types of surplus property in the city of Ironwood County. In fact, shortly after the plan was adopted, we identified 2 different types of property called the Tier 1s and Tier 2s. The Tier 1 properties are properties that the city owns that are small, narrow, undevelopable by anybody or useful except to the adjacent property owners that live next to them. So we identified those properties the first year of the plan, and from there we had a lot of properties identified. We sold a number of them, and also recommended removing one of them due to need by the Public Works Department. The list that you have before you this evening is the revised list that the Parks and Rec and Planning Commission have reviewed and recommended for you for approval. One of the items that we had on the property number 12 that's on the list. We've actually are going to be requesting to remove that. Since the discussion with the Parks and Rec Commission, when they added that property to the list this year, internal discussions with staff have led us to believe that we want to pull out of that property for potential future utilities, easements, and access easements to the adjacent property to the west for future development purposes. So the recommendation is the list and to remove item 12, the property that's listed as item 12.
Thank you. Is there a motion of support?
I would move that we approve the resolution number 015-039 with item 12 with the requested change, removal.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Mildren, support seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to support that resolution, removing item number 12. Discussion? And roll call vote, please.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Birchall?
Yes. Motion passed. Or carried. Thank you. Okay, item Q, discuss and consider approval of the 5-year capital improvement plan for 2016 through 2021.
All right, thank you. Again, this is kind of a routine process that the city goes through on an annual basis. It is required by state statute through the planning law. The Planning Commission has reviewed this. The Parks and Recreation Committee has also reviewed this and has recommended approval of what you see before you. Every year, the city goes through this process, reviewing what projects have been completed, what projects need to continue, and any new projects that come up. Projects are based on the recommendations in the comprehensive plan, as well as other planning documents and policy documents that the city has on hand. So, as you can see in the CIP, there's a summary in the front of it, broken down by departments or funds, and then each individual project list sheet is listed in the plan as well. So it's rather large, but again, the memo presents the reason for it, the methodology, the process behind it, and again, the CIP is really used to help formulate your budget process talks that comes up later next year, starting kind of in January, February time. So again, this is kind of that the living, breathing document that gets revised and looked at every year on a regular basis.
Okay.
So we're asking for approval.
And I would like just to add and compliment Community Development and our Finance Department. A few years back, this document was actually probably a 1- or 2-page document. And you can see now it's very robust, very comprehensive. So it really is, they've done a nice job in fleshing it out and really trying to identify what the needs are of the city, over the next 5 years. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the 5-year capital improvement plan for 16 to 21.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Tower to approve the 5-year capital improvement plan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item R, discuss and consider approval of resolution number 015-040, Western Upper Peninsula Planning and Development Region Commission Regional Prosperity Initiative Grant application on behalf of the Western UP Regional Prosperity Collaborative.
Thank you. As a refresher, the city of Ironwood has been participating with the Regional Prosperity Initiative, or otherwise known as RPI. This is an initiative that the governor put together a couple of years ago, provided grant funding for different regions of the state to align with better efficiencies through different forms of government and government processes. Commissioner Mildred sits on this RPI as well, on transportation issues. I attend on behalf of economic development issues, and they will be, again, applying this year for future funding for 2016 for a number of different projects, as well as continuing the projects that they've been working on this year. So this is just a resolution of support on behalf of that application.
Thank you. Is there a motion for resolution of support?
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, seconded by Commissioner Corcoran to support this resolution. Roll call vote, please.
Mildred?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Berger?
Yes. Thank you. Item S, update on the speed limit along Country Club Road.
Back in October, we received a letter from the Olympic Country Club concerning the speeding traffic in front of the clubhouse there. Kind of a unique situation. The golf course and the clubhouse are located in Ironwood, but the street is Cullen. So the city has the street from Air Street to Liberty Street. And currently we have a 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. The county is a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit. We would have the ability to lower our section to 25 miles per hour, being that it is a residential road. I would not recommend that because 45 to 25 would create traffic conflicts. For the county to change their approach, they would have to perform a speed study, and they do this 85% speed study. So with a speed study, it could increase between 45 to 50. They doubt it would go lower in talking to their plan from the County Road Commission. So I will talk to the see if that's an option that they would want to pursue. Being that there have been not many, I believe we've only had one accident there, and the county, looking at our records, there have been very few accidents there. So one of the factors in reducing speed are crash sites, and we have very limited crash sites there. So I will speak to the country club, I will speak to their impact, but I believe that they will not be able to change the speed there, and I would not recommend changing the speed on the city of Ironwood portion. Do you have a question that I can answer for you?
I know this question of the speed study came up in another question I had. And it seems to this resident kind of counterintuitive, like you would do a speed study that would study the current speed, but don't they look at safety issues, or is it just based on usage?
It's based on traffic usage, and one of the concerns I think they have is the increased usage. I believe now that the US 2 project is done, they should see a reduction in traffic. So I think they've seen a significant increase in the last 2 years. So I think that may have been a part of their concern. I think the traffic use on that road should go down some due to the construction. What a speed study looks at is how motorists, what speed of motorists, 85% of motorists operate safely, where traffic sight reduction occurs, where there are limited crashes. So there's numerous factors, and then what they'll do is they'll choose that speed plus or minus 5 miles per hour. I believe they did the one there maybe 7 to 10 years ago, and that's how they came up with the 45 mile per hour speed. It is a county road, so they fall under different regulation versus we fall under residential, they fall under county roads. So we have the ability to go to 25, or their limit is 45 miles per hour.
That's their lowest limit?
That's on county road, unless they do a speed study or have a crash like that, or various other factors. A lot of factors that play into that, so I believe we need to work with the county on this and the country club because uniform speed may help with that road there because you look right and traffic's flowing slower than it is from the left, so there is some safety issues there. I will work with the county and the country club to seek out other solutions.
And just as a resident too, I'd like to say that you now have the Iron Belt Trail, and you now have more and more people accessing Walmart by taking the trail. So you have an increased number of bike riders, you have an increased number of walkers, and the 45 mile an hour speed limit on the county portion of the road is too high, because I've ridden bikes there 100 times. I think the 35 mile an hour speed on the upper end is fine.
We have no control.
You have no control.
I can speak with Mr. Pine from the County Road Commission. My concern is if you do a traffic study, you risk increasing it. They did put the traffic control device in there, so I think near the trail area there, they've improved some safety features with the traffic control device and stuff like that.
The one thing is that if they did the study and it was going to go up, you'd have to have a fast car to get from 0 to 50 and then still turn into Walmart.
I always hear this speed study thrown out as a roadblock to these kind of things in the county, and I want to know where they get this from, because I've done research and I cannot find if it's a local resolution they have adopted as a road commission, or if it's a state issue. Yes.
It's a national program, so many states abide by this law, and I believe Michigan is actually trying to pass legislation forcing us to use this data, or this speed study data, even as a local community. So it's becoming a national standard that's kind of being pushed on us.
What the speed study says and what common sense is are two different things sometimes. And it shouldn't be 45, it should be 35.
In law enforcement,
yes.
We see some of the, even though it's supposed to be 45, most cars are traveling at a higher rate of speed. We do try to increase enforcement there, the counties increase enforcement there, the state makes it out there. But we're very noticeable, and the minute we're not there, things go back to how they were. So. in that 85% of that is a national standard. We've done many studies. This reduces accidents and improves traffic flow. I mean, they've got a bunch of data that I can forward you a link to that. I read 100 and some page study on this, so I've got a lot of information.
Oh, feel free.
It's for some good reading.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we're dealt with, so.
Well, I think I personally would support any type of negotiation you could do to try to reduce that speed limit as much as you can to a consistent level for the safety of all the people crossing the road at the top of that hill.
And I will work with all the parties involved and see what options we have.
Okay.
They're very limited at this point.
Okay.
Would you like a resolution of support from the city commission requesting that the speed limits be concurrent?
I need that, I'll look at their map, I don't want to ruffle any feathers or some, I want to force his hand right now, I just want to see what our options are, and we need support, I will.
And Andrew, I think that 45 mile an hour, that is the jurisdiction of the Ironwood Township, I think also, right? Not that we couldn't encourage them, but
Yeah,
it's...
all of the work for the speed study is a member of the Ironwood Township board would have to, they would have to pass a proposal to have go to the county road commission perform a speed study. And actually, it's the Michigan State Police, Sergeant Bloom, I think, does it out of the Marquette area. And then we come down into summertime and do speed studies. The speed studies are done during optimal, nice sunny, dry road days, so traffic tends to be at its highest. Most speeds tend to be highest.
Are your communities responsible for paying for speed studies, if requested? No.
The request would have to come from Ironwood Township.
Oh, right.
To the road commission.
Okay.
That's my understanding of talking to the parties that are involved.
Okay.
I'm all set.
Thank you. Thank you. Item T, discuss and consider approving participation in the Employee Assistance Program from the Western UP Substance Abuse Service at a cost of $15 per full-time employee.
Thank you. Again, the city has been a participant in this program for many years. It's a service that our employees can take advantage of if they do need it. As an employer, it is good to be able to provide these type of services if someone chooses to pursue or need them. We don't have the expertise in-house to do this, so we do contract for it. It's very economical at $15 per person, so very economical. It's a good value for us to have this available.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the participation in the Employee Assistance Program as described in item T.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Towers, support by Commissioner Corcoran to support the participation in the Employee Assistance Program as described in item T. Discussion?
Yes, it is for 1 year.
It's 1 year, yes, correct. And it is budgeted also.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Tower?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Burchell?
Yes. Item U, discuss and consider approval of the permit/road use agreement and general release with Northern States Power Company, or Xcel Energy, for the South Range Road substation.
Thank you. There are two parts to this. As you noted, the general release and then the road use agreement. And the general release, essentially, when Xcel Energy built the substation a few years back, they entered into, they went through a site plan review, and one of the conditions was that if there's any damage to the road, they would be responsible to look at that and for the repair of that. And they did a street analysis prior to their work and afterwards, and did the review. We had some discussion on, whether it's normal wear and tear or subject to, the work that was done out there. And it's difficult to really make that conclusion either way. We did negotiate the general release. That was relative to the project when it was done a few years back. And Xcel Energy has indicated that they would be willing through the general release to reimburse the city up $54,000 that we can put back into that roadway for some improvements. And I would anticipate there's some sections in there that do see distress, and we would include those areas next summer with our pulverize and pave project. So I think it's a very equitable release and definitely something we can invest back in the roadway down there. And the other part is a road use agreement, which essentially identifies the route that they will take to get to the site. Now, they have the right to use that road anyway, but this spells it out. I think they wanted that, so it's understood how they'll get to the site. And again, it does say in there if there are any damages from their access to the site that they would be responsible for repair. So I think it's a good equitable agreement on both sides, and I am recommending approval tonight.
Are you looking for approval on both items together, or do they need to be separated?
On both items together.
Okay.
Yes. And if it is approved, if you would authorize the mayor and the city clerk to sign the agreement.
Is there a motion of support?
I'll make a motion that we approve the permit road use agreement and general release with Northern States Power Company as described in item U.
Support.
Discussion?
Just one question. The city, the South Range Road, is South Range Road from downtown to their station all in the city, or does the city property go past that, say, to the next corner to, I forget the next road.
Yeah, the city property would go, or the city right-of-way would extend all the way to Norrie Park Road. Yes.
Motion on the table by Commissioner Corcoran, seconded by Commissioner Mildren, to approve the permit road use agreement and the general release agreement with Northern States Power Company Xcel Energy for the South Range Road substation. Roll call vote, please.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Bertram?
Yes. Motion passed, carried. Item V, manager's report.
All right, just a few items to highlight. With the construction season have winded down, we're going through a lot of paperwork just to finalize some of those projects. Again, with winter coming, a lot of people say, well, what do we have to do in the area? Is there anything going on? And it's amazing. You start thinking about all the things that are coming up, even in a winter season, and actually that's probably one of our busier seasons. So I just want to highlight a few just to put those out there and hopefully get people to participate in some of these. As an example, this Saturday, it's a really cool thing, a Warren Miller film. If you've never been to one, I'm encouraging you to attend. It's a ski film that Warren Miller puts out that is very dynamic. It really captures the essence of our area. And it's also a fundraiser for the local ski club. So that's this Saturday at the historic Ironwood Theater, and I think you'd really enjoy that. Also going on right now is the TV6 Canathon. Again, that's a drop-off of cans for the food pantries, and there are a number of places around town, Bob, that I think the city has been participating in this for many years. Can you maybe highlight that a little bit, add to it?
Yeah, I mean, we have 15 different drop sites, including the memorial building here. We have a lot of the churches, we're really paying Coleman Engineering, radio station, public safety. If you have any questions, they can call me a call at the building, or they can just bring it right to the food pantry. I think when last 5 years, we're seeing the need. I mean, the food's going out as fast as we're bringing it there. And 15 years ago when we started, we were bringing it there, but on a daily basis, you're seeing other food drives too. But food pantries really need.
And Bob has spearheaded this on behalf of the city for many years, so again, thank you for doing that. And again, the formal deadline date is December 2nd to get any canned goods to the food pantries. A few more events that are coming up. Jack Frost Parade will be Friday, December 4th. Again, another great event. Love to have in the community, and we are getting a little bit of snow out there, so appropriate for the season. This is not right in Ironwood, but it's another event. It's through Community Action, and that's over in Bessemer. And again, they do a fundraiser. It's a run. It's a road race, and they have a 2-mile, a 5-mile, and a 3-mile walk. Again, something for the community, a good fundraiser for them, and just a lot of fun, on December 5th to go out and actually do a little road run in the wintertime, and they do get a nice turnout for that. Also coming up in the building and in the Memorial Building, that's been very, very successful, is Santa's headquarters. That's Wednesday, December 9th from 10 to 1:30. And again, a lot of families get help through that effort. We also have coming up the Snowmobile Olympus. That's been revived over the last few years. Great, phenomenal event. Some of these racers are world-class racers that come to the area, and hopefully people will go out and watch that. That's going to be January 1st to the 3rd. Then complementary to that is our silent sport event, the Sisu Cross Country Ski Marathon. That is January 9th and 10th, and they've actually added an event it's a Saturday race, and they added an event on Sunday to try to encourage people to stay in town and enjoy the area, and that's a snowshoe race. And I think that'll tend to grow here, and a nice effort on their behalf to invite people here and hopefully keep them around for a few days. And also coming up, which I think a lot of people attend, are the snowshoe hikes every Wednesday. Once we get a little snow, they start the Wednesday snowshoe hike, and that'll be posted. They have a real nice list of places that they go to, and it also is good for some of the local businesses. And also, as you mentioned tonight, the ice rink addition at Depot Park. Quite impressive with what they're doing over there, the volunteers, and I think that'll be very well received and another nice addition to the downtown area. Project-wise, like I said, we had wrapped up a lot of projects. We're working with Coleman Engineering. They're still working on the Aurora Land Survey. That will continue through the winter into next year. And that's doing assessor's plat for that area to put those, the actual land into private ownership for those residents. We touched on the hardest hit blight grant. That's all the properties that are coming down. 16 houses have been demolished to date under that grant through this summer, and there's 11 more to go. I know Michael was working on getting the next set of houses out for bid and for demolition, and that'll be coming back to the commission over the next month or so for consideration. We also have our code enforcement, Jason Allen, has been working on a number of things, but he did submit a grant for disposal of abandoned tires. There's a grant program through the state. We did that a few years back. It was very successful. So we're waiting to hear back. We don't have confirmation that we received it yet, but it looks favorable. And that would be for next summer, 2016. Next spring, 2016? Okay. We've also been working with the Ironwood Carnegie Library. Dennis Hewitt and a few others have been helping with bid spec. The library got a grant to help maintain the Carnegie Library building. And again, that's tuck pointing, some retaining wall, tuck pointing on the retaining wall in front, replacing some windowsills. I believe the grant is for approximately $60,000. That is out for bid, and we'll be opening those bids on the 16th. Hopefully they come in favorable, and we'll bring those back to the City Commission for consideration. Also going on, the financial audit. Again, Paul is immersed in that very, very much for the next month or so. So the auditors will be in and going through the city audits. And last but not least, City Hall will be closed Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Lots of fun things going on. Makes our community great. Moving on to item W, other matters.
Just wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. That's all I got.
Jim?
The 8 items that you brought up, this community and all of Gogebic County, early Wisconsin, we continue to build. We're building on one event after another. There was a time when we didn't have Wednesday night snowshoeing. There was a time when we didn't have a institutionalized way to help children at Christmas. There was a way that the snowmobile Olympics had died, and now it's brought back again. So we continue to build, and it's stacking one event on top of another, and it's all because of the people in this community that are rolling up their sleeves. So it's absolutely wonderful. Now what Ivan Helen brought to us tonight, another example of people rolling up their sleeves. When Mr. Helen is doing this along with Paul Kostelnik, Tom Kangas, Sandy Sharp, John Ostrom, these are all people that have proven and done big events. And they're continuing to do big events. So I really applaud them because they're going to stack another success on top of another success. And just looking at this right here, every summer I like to spend a night or two in Houghton. In Houghton, at the old ice skating rink. It's not used for ice skating in the summer. So all of the communities around there, from Lake Linden to Hubble to the South Range, they all set up exhibits from their town. And people can stop in any day of the week and they can look at the history of all of the copper country in one spot. And I love that idea. Now, when you work so hard on bringing the history of Irwin Township and the Irwin Township Hall and all of the work that you've done, I would love to see those same kinds of things happen. Bessemer, Wakefield, Ironwood Township, Ramsey, and in one location, a spot where people can see things like that. But the work you're doing right now, the list is impressive, and this community moves forward. I love it. Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you. And I would just like to bring to your attention the letter that was in your packet from the Downtown Art Place. And as I serve on that board, just going back to when Commissioner Corcoran and maybe Commissioner Tower, thanking you for your support of allowing us to start the Downtown Art Place. And that in the just few years that it's been formed, this most recent letter indicates that we got a $15,000 operational grant of support from the Michigan Council for the Arts, and which is a kind of a, not repeat, but a continuation of a grant we got last year for $13,500, and we just completed a $60,000 electrical upgrade to the building, which was matched 50-50, so we got a $30,000 grant from MCACs. And before that, as you know, because the building at that time was still under the management of the city, we completed a $60,000 heating and air conditioning upgrade of that building. So that building has made a lot of great progress, and with that $15,000 operational grant, we are able to offer many art classes for youth and adults in terms of running the Art Center. But just wanted to thank you all.
It's great. It kind of reflects on what Jim said, exactly. One little thing, another little thing, another thing, and just keeps going. So.
Right.
Great.
It's all good stuff. Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And downstairs? Downstairs.
Are we off?
Thank you.